Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about Kagurabachi and how strong is Chihiro at this point of the story. Kagurabachi features the protagonist Chihiro, who in a world full of crime and sorcery draws his sword against evil. A world of magical powers where people can do all sorts of things from controlling the elements to manipulating people's minds. How does Chihiro even stand a chance? Well, that would be thanks to the enchanted blade N10, one of only 7 like it and a sword that is said to surpass what sorcery is normally capable of. And that's no surprise from what we see of it. Even Chihiro, who is probably nowhere near his full potential, is able to overpower many sorcerers with little difficulty. So let's get into the abilities that lie within that powerful sword. Now at this point in the story, we haven't seen a lot of enchanted blades. But like most main characters, Chihiro's abilities are relatively simple. His first main technique is Kudo, or black. Represented by a black goldfish, he can release a powerful cut of spirit energy as a ranged attack. If you're a fan of Bleach, it's basically a Getsuga Tensho and is probably his most powerful attack by far. His most reliable method for ending a fight. And he has a couple rather good feats with it. The first being in Chapter 1 when he faces a large group of ordinary swordsmen and a pretty big portion of them get cut in half in a single slash. Now it's definitely up for debate, but I count at least 30 people here on this panel based on the legs. And that's no easy task, as for a normal person it would be difficult to pull this off against just one guy. An even more impressive feat that Chihiro manages is in his first fight against the swordsman known as Sojo. Sojo, with the enchanted blade Cloud Gouger, summons this decently sized wave of solid ice. Seems to be a few times taller than Sojo and almost covers the building that he does this on. And then, not only does Chihiro cut this thing in half, we see in the next page that it shatters into pieces on the side furthest from where he cut. This implies to me that the entire thing shattered from the force of his attack. However, this isn't the only use of Kudo. When Chihiro was really injured, he was able to scatter the power of it into 20 individual cuts. Quicker and more compact, but lacking in power. These 20 cuts can even be sent at the same target with enough force to cut through iron without the same toll on his body as a regular use of Kudo would normally entail. But Kudo is not his only attack. His next ability is known as Nishiki. Whereas Kudo takes his spirit energy and sends it out, Nishiki takes that energy and cloaks Chihiro in it. This results in a boost to his attacks. Now this means his strikes here aren't quite as powerful as if he just used Kudo, since that's a single condensed release of power. But what's really impressive about Nishiki is the massive boost of speed that it grants. Normally, Chihiro is able to blitz people with ease, but with Nishiki, he was able to fight Sojo at his fastest. You see, Sojo has this ability called Mei that shoots lightning, and it is just straight up real lightning, so it's likely got lightning speed as well. The last ability that Enten grants Chihiro is Aka, the ability to absorb. He uses this to absorb any attack, and then he can release it back at them. We see him use this when he absorbs this one explosion attack and releases it back at the sorcerer who used it on him. And it seems to be implied that Chihiro used it in Chapter 8 to absorb a lightning attack so he could later use it to electrify his blade and turn it into a lightning rod. He just doesn't call out the skill in that scene, so we don't know for sure. There isn't a whole lot to talk about with this ability in terms of scaling because the power of this depends on the strength of the attack he absorbs. Although it is worth mentioning that he doesn't use Aka nearly as often as Kudo or Nishiki, which is kinda weird considering how useful it is. It makes sense why this wasn't a factor in Chihiro's fight against Sojo, since that battle heavily relies on their enhanced speed, but Aka is overall a very useful ability, especially since the release of an attack isn't instantaneous. Chihiro is able to hold on to the absorbed attack and then release it later in the fight, giving it a great element of surprise. It's an ability that involves perfect defense and great strategic offense. The last thing to really mention about Chihiro is that he is a very skilled fighter. He uses all of his abilities to great effect, and he is a trained swordsman. He's also very adept at using the secondary short sword he carries to create moments of distraction. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. It's a cool theory so far, so I felt like talking about it. And if you did like the video, do be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really all does help. In the meantime, take care and have a good one.